Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show, presented to you by MMA TORCH. I'm Rhys Lawrence, and joining me as always is Chief Editor of the Torch, Sean Covington. And in today's episode, we're going to recap on UFC 273, amongst a lot of other things that have sort of popped up over this last week of combat sports. We're going to go everywhere today, and then of course, as usual, we're going to recap and preview all the next weekend's combat sports action, UFC, Bellator on show. It's going to be good. But Sean, we'll start with UFC 273. It was the biggest event of the weekend. It was the most sort of where all the stories stemmed from. I mean, I don't know what order you want to go in, but we'll start with Volkanovski.
We starting at the top and then we're going down.
Yeah. Volkanovski, your thoughts on him, Chang Sung-Yeong, Korean Zombie, how it went, etc.
Very disappointed in the Korean Zombie. Broke my heart. A lot of longtime fans, like we were just talking about Joe Lozon. Was that who we were talking about a second ago? He's one of those guys that's, the Zombie's just been there for so long and just doing his job. And, he deserved a title shot. He did. A lot of people say he didn't, but where else are you really going to go? That's what you do. I remember TJ Dillashaw getting a title shot, and it was like, well, where the hell did he come from to even get it? So, also going back super far, John Jones got a title shot, perhaps when he shouldn't have. I agree that he should have had the shot, but I also see why people wouldn't have given it to him because they didn't want to do the same with Dominic Reyes. But that's where the Zombie was. He was a guy who did all put it. We're talking about him like he died because he did. His career's over. That's it. This was the top of his career. It was the both the height of his career and the immediate drop off in his career. He got to a title fight and he got Donald Cerrone'd. As in he didn't do anything significant at all. And it was pretty gross. But that's not what I'm here to discuss. I'm here to discuss the disgusting champion. People might say, oh, he's a good dude. I don't know how people even say he's a good guy. Like, what? How? Does he donate stuff to charity? I mean, I'll put it like this. People say some horrendous things about Bill Gates, and they may have some base to that, some merit to some of those outrageous claims. It might be, but he donates stuff all the time. So I don't care what he does. I don't like Volkanovski, and I'll tell you why. After he won, a day or two after, not very long after he won that fight. Doesn't matter how many days or hours it was. It was within a week. He said he's looking to move to lightweight. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's sort of because of I'll get it back to you quickly, but because of how uncompetitive that title fight was, I think that spurred him on to be even more, aggressive in this lightweight chase, because he obviously the reason we're here, Max Holloway wasn't able to compete, got injured. Chang Sung-Yeong steps in, and it showed the difference in level, of course, and it wasn't competitive. It wasn't a good fight to watch. It was tough. The referee could have stopped it as well, and earlier. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Volkanovski going up to lightweight, I think there is a lot of weight in that, because I think the quicker he can get out of that division and say that I was the dominant champion, I was better than everyone, but he hasn't. Although he's got those 2 wins over Max Holloway, it's like, if I don't have to fight him a third time and I can get away from
and he's scared. He's scared. He said, I want to move. He's scared, bro. He's scared. Here's the thing.
I mean, it could
John Jones got scared too. I mean, I as dominant as champions are, it's weird. LeBron James also has that weird thing. It's a new age where champions are I don't know what's the word, bitches. He wants to run. First off, he didn't even win those 2 convincingly. To like, the world is split on his victories. Okay.
Oh, Max Holloway beat him on the second fight. Max Holloway beat him on the second fight.
I thought he didn't even win the first one. I don't even think
argument that you lost the first one as well. Yeah.
Right, and everybody split on it. Either they're split for Max or split for him or just split, period. Go out and do that to Max Holloway, and then you can move wherever you want, say whatever you want. You've earned it. But, bro, nobody wins that unconvincingly and then talks as much shit if I've heard him talk. It just, anyway, moving on from that particular thing as far as him not having competition. Let me tell you where he has the most competition. Lightweight. Name one of the top 10 lightweights that he'd get past. Because I'm saying he won't make it into the top 10.
Well, I see
maybe number 10 if you want to put him there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, let's do that. Let's bring up lightweight rankings because I seen your tweet. Got some heat off that. I think you did. About
that boy had trouble with Gregor Gillespie. He had trouble with him. Yep.
Let's go through them.
That's weird. He'd have trouble with him. This ain't like when I was bringing up Molly Meatball McCann and the whole division was trash and she was ranked like 35th, but she should have been ranked at least like 10th. You know what I'm saying? Not 10th. I'll go 15th.
Right. Yeah. Right. Let's go 10 upwards.
Yeah.
Rafael Fiziev.
Sure. You want to go? He beat him. All right. Let's go with that. Sure. Let's place him. So let's place him at 10. I said he won't make it into the top 10 because I don't think he's getting past Gregor Gillespie because that's number 11. That's who he'd have to beat to move into the 11 spot. He's not beating him. People are like, oh, whatever. Okay. Here's where it stops being funny and it gets real for every clown that's going to say, I can't believe what you're saying. Tony Ferguson. Because he could take an ass whooping. Okay? Cool. Let's say Tony Ferguson's not available, right? Or let's just say he's interchangeable with the man right above him, Conor McGregor. Did anybody remember what happened to Eddie Alvarez when he faced Conor McGregor? What do you think is going to happen to little Volkanovski? Volk would get his ass killed. And I mean literally lose his life in that fight against Conor McGregor. Now, I'm not a big Conor McGregor fan at all, but if we talking about his striking, and Volkanovski's going to stand up with him. He's going to stand up with him, and he's going to have to. That's one thing with Conor McGregor. You absolutely have to stand up with him. You just ain't going to drag him to the ground just because. You're going to have to eat a couple of punches at least to do it. Conor McGregor would beat the brakes off of Volkanovski. Who the hell does he think he is? Just because he has a title from another division? Stay your little ass in your little ass place. That's the clown shit I'm talking about with these goofy champions nowadays. You're not Henry Cejudo. Are you out of your damn mind? You know who Henry Cejudo shouldn't even beat him, really. If we being real, he shouldn't have beat Mighty Mouse. That second time, he didn't win that fight, just like Volkanovski didn't win that first fight. But whatever. Go with what it is right now. We'll just go with what it is. You ain't Henry Cejudo, man. You're not. So what claim do you really have to just move up and think you just gonna do whatever? There's no way in hell this guy is a contender at lightweight. No way in hell. I already named somebody I don't even like, Conor McGregor. Let me name Rafael Dos Anjos. He's gonna beat his ass. He's so irrelevant to me, it's ridiculous. Like, I have to remember who he is. So outside of the top five, at number 6, you tell me who that is and why he wouldn't get past him.
You make very valid cases for lightweights. Judging
who's number 6? If you let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, cool, let's give him a good fight. Who's number 6?
We got Michael Chandler, number 6.
Ass whooping. Tell me he ain't getting his ass whooped by Michael Chandler.
And you got Dariush Makhachev. I mean, yeah, the higher you go up, the
Dariush, come on. Like, let's just throw him to the wolves and let Dariush whoop his ass. Let's just do that and get that clown out of there. That's what I would do. I'd say, you're going straight to the wolves. You think you're a champ that's just going to move straight up and get a title shot? Not only, you're not Izzy. He's not Israel Adesanya. You know what I mean? Like, Israel Adesanya has cleaned out the division in impressive fashion. You beat up the Korean zombie who never got a title shot for a reason. Okay? All respect to him. Then you come in here and, man, go beat up the guy that you never even really beat up. Go do that instead of talking that shit about another division. You're not getting in the top 10. If you just so happen to get a fight within the top 10, Michael Chandler's dusting your goofy ass. If you happen to get a top 5 fight, Makhachev dusting your goofy ass. You're a fucking goofball. You bald-headed fucking clown. Sorry, you're going to have to edit it. He's just being a clown for clown's sake. That's it. Oh, I'm a clown. I got a belt, so I can get another one. That's not what this is about. Conor McGregor didn't even go in there like that. He was selling fights. You can't even sell a fight, bro. The zombie sold your fight. Max Holloway sells your fights. Brian Ortega sells your fights. Conor McGregor is going to sell the fight when he kicks your monkey ass. I'm done.
The crowd, we're going to get onto this in a bit, but the crowd, I don't know if it was, I mean, obviously the fight wasn't competitive, but the crowd died after, I mean, Sterling Yan was quiet in a way, but at least it still had, because it was competitive and it went 5 rounds. But that main event, I mean, I thought we're back at the Apex or something. It was weird. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, it was really. You know what it were, right? They were in Jacksonville.
But the atmosphere was good when it was Chimaev Burns. Yeah. It was crazy, but
because they expect every fight to be like that, because they don't know shit about real sports. Hey, Jacksonville, you don't know a goddamn thing about real sports. I dare one of you clowns to email us something about what the fuck you know about real sports. Sorry. I see your face. Let me slow down.
I love it. Sean, I love it. I think the fans love it. They just see this. He just does no filter. You don't care.
When was the last time they had a winning anything in Jacksonville?
It's tough for them, though.
They going to see the Florida Marlins win a World Series back in the 90s. I think in the early 2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s. They won 2. I'll give them that. But then just like the fucking idiots they are, they sold off the whole team. Anyway, guess what? Jacksonville's full of losers, like loser Tony Khan. And guess what? He's such a loser that he owns AEW, and they said, hey, no. He's the co-owner of the Jaguars, because who the hell knows about AEW? They said Jim Ross. Everybody knows who Jim Ross is. But they didn't know who Tony Khan was, so they had to put a little caveat. Hey, co-owner of the Jaguars, because that's the biggest thing down here. Okay? And he had to point to AEW on Jim Ross. How come you didn't wear the AEW jacket, Tony? Maybe he was wearing one. Who knows? Who cares? Here's my point. Jacksonville stinks. They don't know anything about real sports, and that's why they were a shitty crowd. Tell me I'm wrong about that.
Well, we'll get back to that. Trying to keep this thing afloat, Sean. You're killing me.
No. I just meant that. That's why they died for. Yeah. That's why they died for that. Yeah. But it wasn't as you said.
Right. So you bring up an interesting point about lightweights. Where you put Volkanovski in that top 10, he definitely gets in the top 10. But because you got Tony Ferguson in there, you got Conor McGregor in there.
No, sir. He doesn't get past Gillespie, sorry, he doesn't. I guarantee you, he doesn't. He's a clown that overrates himself.
I think we see that next. Obviously, depending on if he fights Max Holloway next, if he stays around, whatnot. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I think you make a good point in that the difference in level would be shown. I mean, let's get right back onto it.
I want to see him carried out on the stretcher. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I mean, some big hitters in that lightweight division, and you're right. But before we move on to Sterling Yan, let's just fully recap what happened in the main event. I think, in a way, we were all left thinking, why was the Korean Zombie ever in there? Because he was at the end of his career. He's sort of saying on his Instagram and whatnot.
He earned it. He was a reserve. He was a reserve. I get it, but he had earned it. And you, to be fair to Volkanovski, hold on. To be fair to Volkanovski, he's cleaned out the division to a degree. He's cleaned out the top people. That's the
Oh,
last of the
sure.
top guys. Now you got to clean up the top guy in Holloway. I am all for that. I am okay with it. Sometimes you got to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get it all. And you know what? As much as I just clowned him, he did accept the fight, and he'll take the fights you put in front of him, and he's scraping the bottom of barrel of the top, but he's doing it at least, and I can respect that.
You're right. He's in and amongst it. Korean Zombie. He's had the breaks from military service. He's been up and down in his career. He's had some good wins, some bad losses. The Brian Ortega performance, it was great from Ortega. It was a little bit poor from Korean Zombie. Didn't feel like he had many options to change with the way that fight went. And you think after that, considering the way Volkanovski beat Ortega, that's sort of where I'm leaning towards. Was the Korean Zombie ever? I mean, yes, he was a stand-in, and we get stand-ins a lot, and it was needed because Max Holloway pulled out. But I don't think. I mean, he said it himself. When you've got a fighter that's actually saying in their own words after the fight through Instagram that everything went well in the camp, everything was right. I'm just not good enough. I'm not at this championship level. Like he's pretty much saying that. So it's like it's difficult to now as a fan sit there and think why that was put on. We didn't know how the fight was going to go. Those fights are the worst to watch when it's just one sided. You've got the commentary booth saying, "Oh, I just hope the referee stops this earlier," and like no one wants to see that. Yeah, it's just terrible.
LeBron James just said that his season wasn't a failure with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's a liar. He lied to all of us. And I wish the Korean Zombie, had lied about something. I wish he hadn't said he was a complete failure. Like, oh yeah, I failed because I wasn't good enough. Man, please. Like, I believed in you. I kind of don't have a lot of choice but to hate him from this point on. But since he garnered so much respect, I'm just going to leave him alone and pretty much never bring him up again. That's unfortunate, but you cannot admit to another set of men, hey, yeah, I wasn't good enough. This guy kicked my ass. You know, to act like, hey, you never should have been in there. You're not in somebody's league. Say it wasn't my day, but act like on another day you could have did something. But, oh, my God. Jeez.
Well,
you know,
it's difficult because for all that it was poor from the Zombie and he looked so slow in comparison to Volkanovski, he didn't look like he could keep up with the striking. Wherever the fight wanted to go, Volkanovski controlled the takedowns and whatnot. But perhaps maybe we're looking at too much of a Zombie thing, and Volkanovski is just a level above. He's a champion.
or maybe Zombie was that bad. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. It's like, was Volk that great? If like, because he didn't do that to Brian Ortega, so it's levels to it. I don't think he's a level beyond. I think we're just kind of jumping on that train so he can fight Holloway, and so we can hype up the Holloway fight. But we're trying to hype it up because he has the title. I mean, Holloway beat him one of those times, and they scored it for Holloway one of those times, then we wouldn't be talking about this at all. We're talking about Max Holloway being on a different level, which we still are, but.
Yeah, I mean, let's do that then. The fight was what it was. The outcome is that Volkanovski retains his title. Your thoughts on a third fight with Max, which I imagine they will do. I don't think the UFC will be too keen on Volkanovski going up to lightweight. I don't think they'll want that. I think maybe Volkanovski saying it in terms of probably trying to get better money and whatnot, more challenge and whatnot, and probably more notoriety. But I think the UFC will book that third fight with Max Holloway following this. Do you think that, or do you think he will go up to lightweight?
No, they're going to book him and Holloway, and he's going to be mad. He's going to bitch about it. I bet you if he loses, he's going to have an excuse about breaking his hand or some bullshit. I can tell a bullshitter when I see one. He's a bullshitter. He likes to make everybody believe in him and thinks that he's just great, and he's not. And guess what? When he moves to lightweight, and it'll be the end of his career. So I can't wait till he moves his bitch ass up to lightweight. You think like he's not beating Oliveira? Right? Let's say Oliveira loses. Is he still beating him? 1 second.
I mean, It's hard because Volkanovski has shown a lot of dominance in his fights. Obviously, 20 fight win streak, undefeated at featherweight, 2 wins over arguably the greatest featherweight of all time. But how limited is he with his height, his reach against the bigger, stronger, tougher guys in the most, deepest division in the UFC? I don't know. I think he would fare. I think Sean's probably thinking, just perhaps more from that. He's too small. He's fighting guys that are perhaps not on the level of the lightweights, and that's why Sean doesn't think he'd get it. I kind of agree in the sense that
He'll get his ass murdered.
Far more difficult in the lightweight division, but
it's different. Let's be very respectful to all the men who can go from featherweight to lightweight. Sure. Okay, so be super respectful of that. Connor's a guy that can effortlessly do it. Okay, he doesn't talk about how. Well, it's not like he ignores the fact that they're difficult. That weight cutting can be difficult, but he's in great shape. Poirier, great shape as well. Like. He's not getting past these two men if they're in featherweight. Is he beating them at featherweight? Because they coming down. I have a problem with that for one. I don't think you should go down in weight like that. But he's trying to move up in a way, and it's like, are you built for this, homie? Let's be for real. Like, Conor McGregor at 170 is trouncing this guy. Trouncing him. That is ridiculous. He ain't beating a Diaz brother. How is he beating one of the Diaz brothers? Conor couldn't beat one of them. How in the is he beating one of them? Because it's not just about, oh man, I got a good snappy jab and look at my striking. The guy striking's great. That's not all the fight is. He's so showy. And there's so many holes in his game. It's just Chris striking. He moves in a line where you can knock his fucking head off. And I don't know why Max Holloway better knock him the fuck out because he is so easy to read. Volkanovski moves his head in the same line all the time. It's a lateral movement and it's garbage. I'm sick of this guy. Beat him, Max Holloway, please. He doesn't mix it up. The way he moves is so easy to pick out. I don't understand. The Korean Zombie could even hit him. He just wasn't fast enough to do it. But, he's fast. That's it. That's all he is fast. There's nothing in his striking that I haven't seen from the likes of Conor McGregor. Am I wrong about that? Does he have his new superior striking game that no one's ever seen into 2020, 2022? Or is it that he's just fast? I think he's just fast. Okay. Max Holloway is fast as well, which is why the fight was close. And this guy is just banking on his speed. And guess what? When he gets older, I bet you he starts to make more excuses or something because he's not going to be as fast. Either way, this is how Volkanovski's career ends. His speed will die at lightweight. It will. His speed will die. He will not have any sort of advantages moving to that. And it's kind of a shame because I think he could legitimately submit himself if he were to beat Max Holloway. I think if he just stays there, but he wants too much. He thinks he's better than what he actually is. And I've seen him fight too many times. He is nowhere near as good as he thinks or anyone else thinks he is. That's not to say he's absolute trash. I get it. Let's be for real. I know, I'm speaking hyperbole and all that stuff. But he is very, I won't say he's one-dimensional. And that he is not. But his striking at least is. It's just because he's fast doesn't mean I don't see what he's doing. You can time where he's gonna go and where he's gonna be, because the way he moves side to side, and you could counterpunch him to death. Max Holloway should have beat him those two fights handedly, but Max Holloway, ask me whether you agree or not with this. Does Max Holloway always hold back? Why doesn't he finish fights in the way? Why doesn't he just go out and like, man, I got him and pounce on the guy? Why does he hold back?
I don't know if it's holding back. I just think he's always been more of a volume puncher. He's always been more accuracy over power shots. He's never been one to just load up. Whereas, like, you've seen it on Saturday, Volkanovski for a few times in each round was really swinging. Like, I think he was noticing that, Korean Zombie, if he took one clean, it was over because he was showing signs. Whereas Max sort of just, like a Piotr Jan does, just breaks down the opponent, flurries of punches, combinations and whatnot. And perhaps if he wasn't so dominant, he would change, but I think it works for Max. And maybe he just doesn't have the power. He is very lean. He's very skinny.
I think he's got the power. I think it's more of he doesn't want to gas himself. But
I don't know. I can't. Really
I think he should.
Gassing, really.
He needs to knock out Volkanovski and send that dude to the lightweight division.
I can't believe that we're almost the way to be 3 fights in, and like there's this talk of like Volkanovski, like. And he's done it because he's got the decisions, but it's like at the same time you've got arguably, for me, Jose Aldo will always be the featherweight, the greatest featherweight. But Max Holloway has, like, there's no real science behind my pick of Jose more than just sentimental. Obviously, he's got the resume,
Max is a great number 2. I mean, it is what it is.
But Max has the sort of. Max would have the pedigree to say not that he would need to say it, but people could say that he's the greatest. And now all of a sudden you've got Volkanovski, who has eclipsed Max Holloway because of those 2 wins. But really, most people are like that, and I'm the same. I'm the same as you, Sean. I think Max Holloway's greater. Like, and it's crazy because he's had 2 losses to the guy, so it's difficult where you've got these 2 guys, and then that's why they need to make this 3rd fight.
Yeah, and Volkanovski feels some type of way about it. He's very emotional about the fact that people like Max Holloway over him, and it's like, get over it. You're unlikable. I can't stand you. Like, I don't do interviews because I'd be like, man, ew. I'd say ew, and he'd be like, what? I'd be like, for real? Like, it's no reason to insult anybody, and I wouldn't do that. But I'm not gonna sit there and agree with someone just because. There's no reason to. And I don't agree with him that he's the greatest. He'd be like, well, name somebody I didn't beat. And I'm like, Max Holloway. He'd be like, well, the judge said, well, I'm a judge too. I get to judge. I'm at home. I'm judging. You lost. How do you feel about that? See, that shit hurts him more than the judge's decision, right? It hurts him. He wants to be loved and revered, and he's not. You're not my king. Sorry, you're not my featherweight king. You never will be. I don't have to accept you. It hurts his feelings. He thinks that we'll like him and worship him at lightweight. He's never been to lightweight, obviously, because Conor McGregor's there. He's got a whole subsect of fans that are gonna love him forever, no matter what, and say he's the GOAT. So I don't know what he's thinking, but okay. Man, when you get to the 8 and 9 is McGregor and Tony Ferguson, 2 great, for better or for worse, great groups of fans, and they're way more than the Volkanovski fans. Way more of them. And that's what he wants. He wants the fame and acclaim. But I'm going to switch gears, and we're going to move on to the next fight.
Well, just
okay, go ahead.
We will, just real quick, because it's linking into this main event. We've talked about everything, but there is a certain triple champion that is claiming that he's going to come back. A fight with Volkanovski, I thought when he retired and was calling him out to start with, you know how many times Henry Cejudo does call out opponents, but that made a lot of sense to me. They're both similar in size. I mean, Volkanovski would have a bit bigger of reach and height and whatnot, but it would make sense for Henry Cejudo, if there was ever a champion at featherweight, to make your claim as a triple champion. 3 weight divisions, never been done before. I thought it would be a good play, but obviously the politics of money and whatnot for Cejudo to come back. Do you feel that this is just another one of his call-outs, or do you feel, I mean, he's saying that he's coming out and back into the testing pool. You saw a testing pool, which means that he would be active to fight, but do you really see it happening, or do you think there's a Max Holloway?
I see it happening, but the
Really?
difficulty is this. Yeah, I do. The
Okay.
problem is this. He enters the pool again, but like, when was the last time he fought? Like 2 years ago was the last time Cejudo fought.
I think, yeah, it was Dominic Cruz, wasn't it? It was the May show where Gaethje beat Tony, which was May 20. Yeah, two years ago.
Yeah. So nah, I don't see him. It'll be damn near 3 years by the time he actually fights him. So he should automatically lose. Because when you ain't in that fight shape, when I say automatically, it's not automatic, but I mean, because we saw GSP come back and reclaim his belt after years of not fighting. So it's possible, but it's just another bullshit feather when he loses, and I do believe he will. For Volkanovski, the speed is what's going to get to Cejudo. You don't deal with that speed every day, and you're not in contention, you forget about it. It's just a thing that happens. Just like when you play basketball, you don't get they say you got to get your legs back underneath you because you're not used to the speed of the game and the toll it takes to take a jump shot. Like a jump shot in a game is different from a jump shot in practice or just at home. So Cejudo's probably going to get knocked out against Volkanovski. Like, see, I beat everybody, blah, blah, blah. It's just going to be another bullshit feather in his bullshit cap. So I don't want to see it. But hopefully Cejudo tears his head off and becomes a triple champ. And Dana White, I hate it, but I'll love it. Because I think I think he's a phenomenal athlete, and he would deserve that. Although he never, in my mind, officially beat Mighty Mouse. But it was, I could see giving him that fight more than I could see giving Volkanovski the fight against Max. Either fight. It is what it is. I can see that. But
yeah, we'll move on to Jan Sterling because we'll be here all day talking about Volkanovski. I think we Sean about no, yeah.
Let me ask you, who won the fight?
Let me retort. Who won the first round?
It wasn't the guy that didn't control the octagon and kind of ran. I won't say he ran, but circled a lot. Well, he didn't turn at that one point he turned his back. It might have been the first round. But at one point he did turn his back and run circle back.
Let's do it like this. We know who won rounds 4 and 5. We know who won rounds 2 and 3. Do we agree on that it was 2-2?
Yes. I'll put it like this. In a fight where, okay, I'm going to take the same numbers, but I'm going to put it in a different statistic.
Sure.
If you take 22 unlanded strikes at me and you land 22 significant strikes, that's what you threw, right?
Right.
You hit me with 2 of them. 2 of them wobbled me pretty good. So you hit me with 2 significant strikes. Let's just say in a round. Okay. And 10 to 15 of those significant punches that you threw, I countered with significant punches of my own and successfully landed. Who won that round? Now you landed 2 out of 22. I hit you with 10 to 15 counter punches. I didn't throw a punch. I didn't throw a significant strike at all except when I counter punched you. Who's more efficient? Because it's a martial art and striking's part of it. Was my striking not more efficient than your significant striking? I think it was. Oh, well, you wobbled him. It's like, well, but he got tagged. Then had you not thrown 22 strikes, I wouldn't have countered you 10 times. That was what it was with Jan and Sterling. Sterling went for 22 takedowns, and he ended up on his back for the majority of them. You can't win a fight like that. You cannot. If it wasn't for that stat, it'd be different. But the guy was desperately trying to go to the ground. Like, that didn't hurt him at all. They scored that fight in a way that he could just keep going for. He could have went for 1 million takedowns, and he got 2 takedowns. So what? How many times did he get his back? He had his back for the equivalent of a round and never attempted a takedown. You gotta lose that fight. You're the guy that taps people out, right? You choke people out. You're a ground guy. You control a round and a half on the ground, right? That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is if someone else who never attempted to take you down controls the fight for a full round, the equivalent of a full round on the ground. That doesn't make sense at all. It's like, oh man, he had him on the ground for 5 minutes. How? Well, but he did. It's literally impossible, right? How did he ever actually get a takedown or could have ground control when he never attempted one?
So, what I take away from what you're saying, I do agree with it really.
If I come in your house with a gun and you end up shooting me, I fucked up.
So,
sorry.
We'll agree that Sterling. Yeah, I know Sterling. Much improvement from the first fight. We can agree there.
Absolutely. I don't know why people thought he was going to get walked through. I said, hey, look, man, I hate the guy, but that doesn't mean he's an idiot. That doesn't mean he is an idiot. That doesn't mean he's a chump. He's definitely not a chump.
He's elite, but I mean, obviously, you look at the odds. You look at before the fight, where everyone thought what they had already seen in the first fight they went, and what they seen with Jan against Sandhagen. You thought there's just no way. I thought obviously it was 2-2.
Sandhagen's overrated though. I don't know why people are thinking that.
He does seem to be.
Everybody's catching strays. Sandhagen is overrated.
Sandhagen does seem to get quite a lot of plaudits from top journalists and analysts that perhaps I don't know, maybe just because they like him or whatnot. I mean, he's elite. He's one of the top guys in the division, of course. But yeah, you're right. There is other guys that have beaten him convincingly. But let's just break it down. The fight. It was a good fight. Competitive, far better than the first. Depending on how you judge the first round is who wins the fight, obviously. You've seen the reactions from some. I think someone's seen a video of Dana White when he put the belt on Sterling, and it didn't seem like he was too happy either. But
he just looks unhappy all the time anyway, though.
Well, he's happy that his boy Hamzat won, let's put it that way. But, yeah, 2 and 3 Sterling, and then 4 and 5 Jan. There's an argument for both guys in the first round. I think Jan did a lot of forward pressure, but there is the idea of he did forward pressure, but he didn't actually follow up with anything.
Yeah, but see, that's that champion's advantage bullshit. The only sport that has champion's advantage that makes real sense is pro wrestling. Oh, well, he's the champ. Well, yeah, he should act like one and go do something. I think the champ should be heavily penalized for doing nothing, and he didn't do shit that first round. Nothing. He was making sure he didn't get hit. If you ask me, that's a bitch move. And any champion that doesn't press you in the first round, get him the fuck. If you're waiting to see what I do, not in an Anderson Silva way, right? There's clearly different fighters. Anderson Silva stays on top of you, ready for you to do something, and he makes you do something. Sterling didn't make him do anything. He was waiting to run away from in circle or whatever. He was running. He was just looking for a way to avoid Jan and the onslaught. He didn't press forward enough. And if you're the champion, you have the belt and you have to secure it. You get, the challenger needs to, bro. So why are you keeping the belt if you could just rest on your laurels and say, well, look, I won other rounds. I don't have to win this one, right? That's what's happening. We've seen champs do that. Like, I already won some rounds. I'll just go play it safe and get a takedown. Go knock him out. Don't get a takedown and sit on him for a round. Kill that man. Put him on a stretcher. Make his mama cry.
It's difficult because I don't always think that, like I say, the guy that's advancing forward, if he's not doing anything with it, because judges view octagon control and forward pressure far more than they value strikes that part. There was a fight, I can't remember which one, but right at the end of the round there was a few strikes landed powerful, but they were slipping off the shoulders. They weren't really connecting. The crowd were going crazy. And I'm thinking in my head that this was going to influence the last round because there wasn't much in it. I can't remember what fight it was. But judges look at incidents like that and that'll sway their decisions, but they'll also look at just who's been advancing forward. And you think, if you're advancing forward but there's nothing really happening, you've got to look at other things in the fight as well. Now, we're not judges, but I mean, we might as well be, considering how bad these judges can be at times. But there's obviously a criteria and whatnot. I just feel like Sterling and Yan did enough to win the round, but there wasn't enough in it to get a clear decision of who won it.
How come we couldn't draw it around? MMA scoring is garbage. It always has been. Oh, somebody's going to win the round. Why? Nobody won it. If you were asking me straight up, nobody won that fight, and it was a draw. Just simply because they really did match each other. They did. Like, if you're Aljamain Sterling, I get why you didn't push forward too much in that first round. And if you're Jan, I get why you respected each other. At the end of the fight, they didn't shake hands, but like it was a mutual show of respect, and they should have had that. Just leave it all in the octagon. And I understand how the rounds were scored. Doesn't mean they should have been scored that way. In terms of, if there is no clear winner, why does there have to be a clear winner? That's what we're talking about. Anybody who defends that, go to therapy, because something's wrong with you. We are constantly talking about how nobody won that round, right? If Jan didn't win it, nobody won it. That's what people say. Or if you had the choice, you would say, well, yeah, draw on a round. I would draw so many rounds. I'm like, yeah, you guys didn't do anything. What? And then go do something. I want you to do something, not wait till the end of the fight so that I have to do something about it, right? Right? That's weird. This is the type of bullshit UFC fighters do. Oh, well, I thought I did enough to win the round. You did? How many punches did you throw? How many times did you knock him out? You know what I mean? Like, you just, oh, well, I controlled the octagon. You're looking at these stupid-ass metrics that mean nothing, clearly, to the refs, right? They don't mean anything. And you don't want them to judge it, yet you're going to, oh, well, I think I controlled this and that, and then leave it to the judges. Jan should have knocked him out. He is not exempt from judgment as well. He should have knocked him out like he said he was. He did say he was going to knock him out, right? And he didn't. And the judges came back to bite him in the ass. I don't know why he, of all people, thought that Sterling wasn't the fighter he was, or even better. If we being for real, the only version of Aljamain Sterling he was going to get was going to be better. The only reason he could have possibly been worse is because of the surgeries, right? Sure. But this guy's a professional fighter. Like, I can talk all the shit I want, but these are professionals. These guys are in a certain kind of shape that, you don't get worse in. Like, Volkanovski's only gotten better because there's no way he's going to get worse in the type of shape he's in. Same thing with Aljamain Sterling. So I don't know why Jan thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Like, Jan was the one that didn't get any better. He's the one that stayed the same, and I didn't understand that. I'm like, Aljamain Sterling isn't the same regardless. Like, he's already fought you once, and he burned out his gas tank. He knows to save his gas tank. So you're going to be in trouble if you come in there thinking it's the exact same fight guy you fought the first time. So in that respect, I mean, all props to him on that. He actually did, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, he got better. He got a lot better. And he closed that gap significantly to where he's at least his Jan's equal at the very least. And we can see that on paper. Yeah, at the very least, they're equal. And I'm willing to go with that. I think they're equal, and there's nothing they can do about it. And that's what it shows.
Yeah, no, you're right there, 100%. I think I'll get onto this in a second, but you're right. That fight showed there's a level playing field, and I feel like, depending on who is front runner for a title shot, that should be run back again. A third fight would be good. But
give them some fights in between, though. I think they deserve that. I would think they deserve a little
yeah, I
bit of
think Sterling
space.
deserves the title defense, and they're
Yeah.
but I think
And
they won't
Jan
fight
should go
anymore.
down the card a bit too. He should. You said you were going to knock him out. He proved to be your equal. Whether he deserved that title or not, he's
Sure.
still your equal, and that's too bad how that unfolded for you.
But Sterling, like him, don't like him, you've got to respect him, because it's not
I don't
forget
respect
all the trolls and whatnot, and not Sean, of course, but forget all that. I mean, going through the surgery, he's fighting the top guys. I don't think that was an excuse. I don't think that, what you think about the illegal knee and whatnot. He did get a legal knee. So
he's his equal. I respect him as his equal. I can't take that away from him. I won't. I kind of thought, I'm gonna be honest, I thought he was his equal in their first fight. I thought he was. I thought that if they fought again, this would happen. You didn't think so? If you look at the gap, I was like, well, Aljamain Sterling's fighting uphill and he's burning his gas tank up. But he was just fighting somebody. Was he outclassed? Sure. But if he could have somehow gotten to study Jan better, he would have been this fighter regardless. I don't think he actually truly believed in himself. That's why he took the bitch way out with the illegal knee, and that's what it is. It's too bad. That's my feelings on it. I think that's what happened, not my feelings. But that's neither here nor there, because they're still equal. Even it doesn't matter who has that title and who's undisputed. They are equal as fighters.
Sure.
I can actually make the same case when it comes to Volkanovski and Holloway as well. If I really want to, I won't, but I can.
Oh, no, I think
Holloway's about
I think most people do already make that comparison. Most fans, anyway. I mean, yeah, you got media that probably.
I think it's a great thing when you have an equal, because you keep fighting and it just makes it better. So I don't think it's
Kamaru, Kobe. I feel Kamaru, Kobe, Kamaru. But, let's be honest, Kobe's right there. Maybe Kamaru's a little bit better, but Kobe's right there.
Yeah,
but you're right. Having that, rival, that level opponent, you're right, it makes everything better, it makes it more exciting. Sean, the worst thing that we can do is watch what we've seen on the main event. That is you could have a snooze fest, but if it's competitive, at least it's something. That fight was the worst type of outcome for fans, when it's just not competitive and it's actually painful to watch, because you just feel sorry for the other guy.
50-50 booking's the best thing. You know why? Because people always talk about 50-50 booking in pro wrestling. It's like, you're a damn idiot and you've never watched football a day in your life, or basketball. There are people who are just your equal, and usually in your division. And that's a great thing, because that makes you a rivalry. If you're just 15-0, who gives a shit about who you fight? Right? And once you lose to the champion, then what? Look at Donald Cerrone. Look at him. Can't win the big one. You don't want to be, and the other cowboy just got released too. Salute to the other cowboy.
Yeah, Cowboy Oliveira getting released from the UFC.
Yeah, that's a shame to see. I thought they signed him. I thought I read somewhere they re-signed him. Well, that was bullshit. Whatever.
Always a fun fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. He could go over to Eagle FC and get knocked out for money over there. That's wrong. But yeah, it's nothing wrong with being equals, man. And I think that they are. And that's the most respect I can give both of them. And if you're Jan, if somebody's your equal and you're that good, that's great. You shouldn't be mad at it. You should be like, damn, I'm actually really good. And although I lost to this guy, people seeing us as equals isn't a bad thing. I mean, we know how he lost, but same thing with Max Holloway and Volkanovski. But Volkanovski thinks about it differently. But whatever. On to the next.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes for Sterling, Jan, and whatnot. But it was a good fight.
Who's the next contender? Hold on. Who's the contender?
You've got Aldo that will be knocking on the door. You've got
who? I know you
Jose
meant
Aldo.
to say Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
No.
No.
Number
Name
three.
someone
Number
else.
three ranked.
If I was Dana
Number
White,
three
I'd
ranked
laugh you right out of my
bantamweight.
office. I'd kick you out of my office for saying Jose Aldo.
You don't think Jose Aldo gets a title shot?
I mean, as a legacy thing, but he's gonna get dominated like the zombie did. He's gonna look just like the zombie. He's gonna be horrible.
Are you referring to the same Jose Aldo we've been seeing in the last couple of years, or no?
The guy that's gonna help solidify and cement Sterling as champion. Yes, that
You
the
think?
guy that's he's gonna be a feather in that cap, bro.
Jose
Man,
Aldo, Rob fought Pedro Munoz, Marlon Vera, number ranked 4 in the bantamweight division.
Aljamain Sterling's gonna kill him.
Ah,
Kill him. All right. I mean, I don't want it to happen. I don't even like
I
Sterling.
don't see that happening.
But I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's TJ Dillashaw next, probably. Let's be honest. But Jose Aldo, for me, easily would make a very, very tough outcome for Sterling. In my opinion, I might be wrong. Listen,
It's the speed. That's the problem. It's the age. Which
I think Jose's still got the speed. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be the same as when he was in his
it's just the
prime.
speed, though. With age goes the speed. You know, that's all I'm saying. It's like if he was just as fast, well, yeah, sure. But
He looks still fast to me. I don't know, but you're right. It will be TJ next, probably. Jose is there, and then that's the drop-off fight. You got Merab, who's coming, and he's coming hot and fast. Dominic Cruz, but
Dillashaw wins if he's juicing. If he's not, he's out of there. I'm sorry.
I mean that build-up's going to be just like every second sentence that Sterling.
Who do you root for against two unlikable people?
Oh, the fans are going to have a tough one watching that, aren't they? They're going to be like
two heels.
Yeah, definitely. We'll save that for another day because we've got a lot to discuss. But
yeah, you got to talk about that clown Gilbert Burns.
We've got to talk about this huge. I mean, I think I put a poll out earlier. This is the most. This was the most anticipated non-title fight since Gaethje Chandler.
Yeah.
I mean, when you like the energy just dropped after that fight, and it was going to never be. It was always going to be difficult to follow, but it's like everyone left. It was like Dave Chappelle. It's like Dave Chappelle came out, and then someone wanted to go on after and follow, and the whole everyone's leaving. They've got a 15-minute stand-up bit, and they're gone, and everyone's gone, and you're speaking to no one. You're speaking to the cleanup crew, but yeah. I mean, thoughts on it was a great fight. The fact that Burns took the fight when he didn't need to, sort of risked his ranking, risked his position. And what did you think of Chimaev? And because it was a huge step up in level of who he'd fought, and it showed, didn't it? Where we were just, it's like he's not human. Where before the fight we're thinking he's just going to dominate everyone. There's not even I mean, the odds were crazy. I was just like blown away by how much of a favorite he was.
The way he fights, I kind of saw it going like this, because he wants to fight for real. Like, he likes fighting. He's not trying to end it. I mean, he is, but not really. Not every shot is to end the fight, He's just like, boom. And then, like, he was standing in front of Burns, like, hit me, and Burns would crack him, and he would crack back. And, I mean, you got to admire both of those guys for that fight, because they were trying to end it, but they also wanted to see what you had next. It's like, oh, man, you took that? Well, take this one. Take another one. And Burns posted some numbers. I called him a clown because he posted some goofy numbers about... Anyway, he lost that fight. I don't know what he's talking about. It wasn't like it was like some blowout, but he lost. He was wobbled too many times, and it was more significant damage done to him. That's all. That's it. It's how you lose a fight. You can lose a fight by a punch, and people, like, literally a knockout or a significant strike, or one more strike landed. You can lose by a punch or a kick. It's fine. But I mean, Chimaev to move up and fight on the level he did, you don't always see. doesn't mean he's ready for the big time. I give him one more. Everybody's like, yeah, Usman. I'm like, yeah, throw him to the wolves and let him die. Don't do that. You just saw him fight Burn.
He's a wolf himself, isn't he?
He could knock out Usman. Don't get me wrong, because Usman is shown. Burns rocked him. Burns rocked Usman before, and Usman's gotten rocked by Masvidal. When I say rocked, significant strike where he woke up and stopped letting himself get hit like that. It happens. It's supposed to happen. It's a fight. But no, man. Give him. Man, can you really go back though? Can you give him Wonder Boy or something? Can you give him? Wait.
The problem is with the UFC is that they don't operate. They just, like you said, feed them to the wolves. They will not. Now that he's beat Burns.
Leon Edwards
or Kobe Covington are the only options for him, because they're the only ones that are a positive, are a higher level than Gilbert Burns, and we don't actually know, because Gilbert Burns has showed it in that fight where we don't actually know. I mean, Kobe Covington's a level above. We know that. Leon Edwards, for all that he's, I mean, obviously I'm a massive fan. He's British. I want to back him, but we don't actually know how good he is, because he's beat guys, but he's not. He's got like 10 fight win streak, but none of them are on the level of Burns.
Yeah, that's why we got to put him up. That's why that should be the next fight. He also needs another fight, and he needs a fight to prove himself. It has to be this one, and then you give him to Masvidal in both of their careers.
Well,
hey, careers are short, and I want to, by Masvidal, you're done. Masvidal, if he beats him, that's the height of his career, and that's it. If he loses to him, it's the lowest point, and he has to go away. So that's the end of Masvidal's career, regardless.
So Burns, Chimaev, I think Chimaev did enough, but you do look at the numbers, Sean, and you look at Chip, and Burns was the one that dropped Chimaev. Chimaev didn't really have Burns in fight ending.
I don't know, man. He was beating his ass.
He
was beating his ass.
You could look at the numbers and things. I was a little bit surprised that there was a bit more of sometimes when the judges take longer for the scorecards, it's maybe split and whatnot. I was surprised that it was quite quick in that, but it was one of those fights where I thought, you had that with Jan as well, where the loser doesn't really look like a loser, because, I mean, and you notice when the fan reaction, the fans were booing Chimaev when he was speaking, and then when Burns came on the mic, they were cheering, and you think, did the fans not agree with the decision?
He won't really lose his rank like that. I mean, not really. It shouldn't be that bad. I don't know if it is. I don't know what happened.
He's went to number 5 now, I think.
And what did Chimaev move to?
Chimaev's now 3, and I think obviously Covington 2. Should be 1.
1, right? Who's 2?
And then you've got, you'll have Leon Edwards.
Leon Edwards, you gotta run that fade, as they say in the hood. Stop being a bitch. Leon Edwards is such a bitch. I know you gotta edit a lot of this, but he's a bitch, bro. He is. He got slapped in the back. He got Will Smith in the back of an event kind of on camera. We saw it. I can't believe he got slapped like that. And then he let Masvidal go on national television. You gotta slap that man. Oh my goodness, man. Come on, dude. Go in there, fight Masvidal, okay? And don't say, it's a step back for me. That's what he's saying now. It's a step back for me. Well, when they move your goofy ass back, because you finna lose, whoever he fight next, he's losing. They move you back, and you gotta fight Masvidal. It won't be a step back. But back to Burns, Chimaev. Burns was the one that was more damaged. I didn't think he was going to end the fight at any point. Well, I'm not. I think
when he dropped Chimaev.
I was going to say not at any point. He didn't have what it took to end it. You know what I mean? He couldn't follow up. His not following up was big time. And a lot of big shots he had was because Chimaev was following up on big shots he had. So they were both counterpunching each other, but I think the one that had the more significant damage was Cosman. So that's where I go with it. I mean, if it was scored differently, too bad for him. He should have made it go the other way. You're fighting. You dictate the pace. Not, you gotta, man, this ain't boxing. Go in there and rip his head off. It's not boxing. Like, there are rules, but man, they're all over the place. You can tackle him and beat him half to death. Go do it. Go do it. Go get a single leg. Get a double leg. I don't give a damn which one you do. Just go down there, submit him. You know what I mean? Like, it's in your hands. So I wouldn't have been mad if Burns won because, Cosmot should have done more. But he did enough. I think he did enough. And if Burns is mad, then guess what? Burns should have been the one to do more. He's a little upset. It's like, you didn't do more. You just, take him to the ground then. Then knock him out. Like, I know it's not quite that simple, but where's your game plan to do these things? You're just saying, I thought. Where's your game plan? Show me on a diagram where you were going to knock him out. If you can't do that, shut up. Most fighters can't.
Yeah, I mean, Burns, obviously, he's now fourth. You're right. It's not really going to move him too much. I think his stock goes up because of...
Exactly.
Taking the fight, didn't need to take the fight, chose to take the fight against what is called, a boogeyman in the division.
He's not a bitch like Leon Edwards. He'll take a fight.
Well, Leon Edwards has, had his problems with injuries and bad luck and things, but yeah, the Hamzat fights have fallen out.
When did you get injured?
Well,
I was gonna say something really bad, but
the problem with Leon is there's so many problems.
Hurt feelings. His feelings were hurt.
And it's probably stalled why he's not crossed over with fans and whatnot. He's backed here, but he's not even really that well backed in the UK because of the lack of
he's
fights.
Not Darren Till. Darren Till's a guy you could get behind, not Leon Edwards.
Well, Till will always be backed, but Till's in this country. Paddy Pimblett, Tom Aspinall, right. The active fighters, the ones that are actually out.
Meatball.
Yeah, but whereas when you get fighters that are, the talents there, the abilities there, that they should be at the top and they're not because of problems outside of the cage, it makes it more difficult to back. And I think that's the problem with Leon. But the good thing about Hamzat, the good thing about Kobe, especially the thing about Kobe, I find, is that he does not need the Hamzat fight next. He doesn't need it for his popularity. He doesn't need it for money. He doesn't need it for stature. Whereas I think he'll take the fight because he is that type of guy that he'll take a fight anywhere, any place. You've seen it in the Kamaru rematch where, most fighters would probably have realized in that first fight that I gave it my best performance and the guy still beat me. And for him to take the fight for the second time, I think shows to what Kobe's made of, and I think he will take this Hamzat fight more than what Leon Edwards would. I don't think Leon would be as keen to take the Hamzat fight. Do you think we're more likely to see a Kobe Hamzat or a Leon Hamzat next? I don't think it's going to be Kamaru. I really don't think Kamaru's next.
Either Leon or Kamaru. Straight
up. Leon Usman would be next.
He's fighting a black guy next. That's all I know. Fighting a black guy next. There's a way he could fight. He could end up fighting Masvidal next. I know that seems a ways off, but if the zombie just got a title shot because people pulling out, he might end up fighting Masvidal next. That's how crazy it could get. I'm all for that fight. That's kind of the one I want to see next because he could actually think about it. He loses that fight. He doesn't really drop in standings, but he can still get the Usman fight if someone else drops out, like Leon Edwards, because Leon Edwards would drop out. He just does. Oh, I hurt my toe. Yeah. But you know what? You don't give him the Kobe fight because I'm a storyline guy. You let Kobe win it from him. I think it's a bad matchup for him. I think Kobe just puts him on his back the whole time, and that's it. Like, that is it.
Well, what about him I posted something today. What about Hamza opening up as a favourite against Kobe on some betting lines? I think that's crazy.
That's ridiculous because Kobe Covington is just gonna lay and pray. That's too bad. You don't like it. Well, change the rules. I don't know. Become a politician. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're not gonna beat. He's not gonna beat him, man. Chimaev is not gonna beat him, man. There's no way he beats him. Because he just doesn't have it on the ground like that. I'm not saying he's trash. Kobe's gonna work him. And here's the thing. Kobe gets the belt from him. Usman is now hungry. Chimaev gets the belt from Usman. Kobe gets the belt from him, from Chimaev, and then now Usman has to fight Kobe again. Possibly loses. But that's a better story than everybody losing. I could just pick easy fights for them to all lose. It's it. It's done. If Leon Edwards was as good as he thinks he is, he'd easily beat Usman. Easily. And that's crazy to say, right? But think about how Leon Edwards acts like he is. The way he's beat people, you know what I mean? If we just take in a vacuum and we're not really adding any context to who he fought or whatever, and we're just looking at it, you easily book Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, do you not?
For sure.
Right. So, we can just book, we can fantasy book this thing, but if we do that, a lot of people are going to lose. You don't want, Chimaev has to he has to be really responsible about his next fight because I think he loses against Leon Edwards too. I know it sounds bad, but guys with those sort of fundamentals, they don't like to. You know who Leon Edwards reminds me of? Carlos Condit. All the fundamentals in the world, right? You can't really touch this man in a real world sense. But something about him is just not main event level. I used to hate Carlos Condit, and then I loved Carlos Condit. Now I just respect him. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Just the whole he's got all the skills. It's just man, does he strike you as a main event guy? No, and that's a weird thing. So, but the problem is he's got the skills to put guys like Chimaev away, and then what? He's gonna put him away. He submits him, then what? Now we just left there damn. I guess Leon Edwards is getting a title shot. Then he gets he gets knocked out. that's how his title shot is, a knockout, right? Then what? I don't like the past we have in that division. I'll just put it like that. So although this fight was great, this is the last good one we're gonna see in that division for a long time. End on a sour note as always.
It was. I put that poll out. I think most people picked Chimaev Burns over Gaethje Chandler as a better fight. When I put a poll out earlier, it was a great fight, and it was testament to Chimaev's ability to go up in level. And yes, it was quite obvious to start with that he wasn't just going to be able to run through Gilbert like he has with other opponents, which I think. Some, even me I was just this because he's so special. It's like a once in a generation type guy that comes along. You look at different sports. You look at a I wouldn't say LeBron James came through and everyone knew there was going to be a certain level of greatness, but there was someone that just burst onto a scene in the sport where, it was there was a different type of buzz, and there was almost like
Allen
an
expectancy.
Iverson. There we go, Allen Iverson. And he delivered. And Hamzat's doing that, but it's at a crazy level because he went from Li Jingliang to Gilbert Burns in the space of 4 months. And that's no one else does that. And for him to do that, it was just a brilliant fight. Two brilliant fighters, and I felt it as well. But watching it, and you just see the difference with the crowd when they come out, everyone's on their feet, and then Jan and Sterling come out, and it's just And then Volkanovski and that is just like...
Yeah. That first round in that Jan Sterling fight was really disappointing. And that is exactly why it should have been a draw. And none of them should have had the satisfaction of winning.
A draw round, I don't see too much problem with something like that. I'm surprised there isn't enough. Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't more drawed rounds. Like, I think Joe Rogan said something like, when's the last time we've seen a draw? And I also thought about the Moreno-Figueiredo fight, but it's like, we never see drawed rounds. We never see...
Because the scoring is so damn stupid. Yeah. The scoring is stupid. And everybody, well, they should do this and do that. Like, no, it should just be... I don't know how there's not like a cumulative fight, you know? The fight is one whole thing. They should probably just like not add a round, obviously, but add some sort of X factor score that you can put in there, because it's not showing. I don't know. I'm not, you know, if I worked for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I could come up with analytics to support what I'm saying, or I could use those resources to do something else completely. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how to score it. I could figure it out, but like, just damn, you know, it's just a draw. It's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. The guy who has the belt keeps it. I don't like him. I don't want him to keep it. But in all fairness, he was going to keep the belt anyway, you know, because of the circumstances. Fine. I don't care who the belt's on. If we're being real, I mean, I actually do. I don't want it on a clown like Sterling. Real quick, I don't care what color Aljamain Sterling is, and I don't care that I'm the same color as him. I don't like him. I don't need to cheer for him. A good reason, and people brought this up, a reason why Jan doesn't have that belt around his waist is because what is he? And who do we have a problem with as a whole in the world? Russia, right?
You think that came into the judging?
Yes. Only Florida was rooting against the black dude. People were like, oh, it's a black dude. I was like, who cares? I don't like him. And I don't think he's the better fighter. You know, I think they're different. I like Jan's. I say Jan's a better fighter because he has more of a killer instinct. That's it. That's the difference between them. And but like if you argue something else, whatever. I don't care that much. And I hate Aljamain Sterling, but like I don't hate him so much that, well, I'm just gonna start lying. I mean, that don't make any sense to do that. You know, I don't lie anyway. There's no point in doing it. Father taught me that. No point in doing it. Nobody's important enough to lie to. But my point is, it doesn't matter what your affiliation with someone is. You should just be honest. And honestly speaking, I think that Aljamain Sterling lost that fight. And I'm not supporting him because I don't like him. It has nothing to do with, black people say all the time, you got to support this guy because he's black. Like, what? First thing I was asked in California when I moved here was, how about that Obama? Because I told the guy I was from Chicago, like, we just having a regular conversation. I was like, I didn't vote for him. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't like him. Like, I don't like him. I don't have any loyalty to him because he's black. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's no way in hell they were going to let a close fight go to a Russian dude. And he should scream out racism or nationalism, I guess. I don't know. Whichever one it is. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not a nationalist or a racist, so I don't care.
I think you might be the first to bring up the reason Jan's defeat was Russian and racist. I mean, actually, to be honest, if you look deep enough, I think people will bring that up.
They scared, bro. We ain't scared to do that here. Damn right. Like, if you ask me, if I'm Dana White or the judges or whatever, and there's like, if it was mentioned at all, or the climate is, maybe we don't want to give it to a Russian dude, then hell yeah. Yup. He lost the first round. Yes. Was that close? He lost.
Sean, did you see, here when they were fighting and Rogan says, when you've got an American that's getting booed and the Russian is getting cheered in Florida, it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's what was happening. The fans were booing Sterling and were cheering the Russian Petr Yan.
Sterling did it all himself. Instead of LeBron James did a tasteless thing as well. He said he made an April Fool's joke about him being out for the season.
Yeah, I seen that.
He's out for the season anyway because he's not good enough. What a piece of shit. Like, if I'm a Laker and I bought season tickets, I'd be like, bro, you're not gonna play these last games? Not even like, are you gonna show up? I don't even think he was on the bench at the games. Like, he's a piece of shit, man. He just is. And people like, well, how is he a piece of crap because he had a school? I don't give a damn how many. He could have 8 colleges. He still ain't shit. Okay, damn. People talking about all his good work and all that. Anyway, we already talked about him. He don't have the 3 eyes, but Aljamain Sterling doesn't have any integrity either. He put on a damn Jaguars helmet, and pretended that Jan was gonna knee him in the head. And I was like, who does that? We already given you all types of crap about it, and then you joke about the stuff we took seriously. Yeah, you're a clown. I don't have to support him. I mean, because the facts are still there. I don't support him. I hate him. Definitely don't like him. I don't know. Maybe I don't hate him anymore. But he's proven to be Jan's equal no matter what I say. I'm stating that. So who cares about anything else? He might say he's better than him. I don't give a fuck what he says. I do know that he is at the very least, equal to Jan. So I'm okay with it. But
yeah.
But I'm not going to back him up just because of race.
Well, that was sort of like the UFC news for the weekend. But obviously we've got different combat sports leagues up and running again. Bellator's coming.
Darren Torres.
You want to quickly go over that as well?
Yeah, I want you take that one. That's all you. It's all you.
Mackenzie Dern. It's hard because she's got the crossover appeal now of, she's fluent with her English. She talks quite well.
Man, you said crossover appeal and you didn't start with big old booty. Don't lie to us.
Well, I mean, I was going to go into that. I mean,
it's true. It's true. It
is
what it is. She's in great shape. It can be true. It's true with her, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, plenty of athletes. Okay, I know I just named black ones, but there's other ones. Paige Van Zant. I get it. It's fine. How dare you bring up crossover appeal and not say big old booty first?
Well, I was going to get to that, but
that's what you meant. Crossover appeal.
Obviously,
hey, Rhys is full of shit. He just tried to. He used Morse code crossover. Okay, no, okay.
I was trying to.
I didn't mean to blow you up. Go ahead.
Segue with professionalism first, but you're right. She obviously is like, she'll get more eyeballs. A Paige Van Zandt, a Pearl Gonzalez, a Rachel Ostovich, I think obviously fits into those sort of category of
karate hottie.
Karate hottie. Yeah.
Oh, she's got
Holly Holm for some reason gets still all that sort of attention, but I mean
it's the backyard. It's the backyard. They got backyard. And no, it is, man. Like people speak about that a lot. Like Holly Holm. I mean, look, when you're an athlete, you deserve. I think she was in the ESPN The Body issue, I believe.
Yeah.
And deservedly so. And that's literal crossover, and that's literal crossover appeal. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. That's the utmost of professionalism. It's saying your body is at a level where we're gonna put you in a magazine, but not just any magazine. It's a magazine for athletes, and it's not. They show different body types in that too. So it's a celebration of the human body. Really, I really do like that magazine and what it does and the confidence it gives people and what it's meant to do. It's meant to bridge the gap, So, no, like you were saying, that crossover appeal really is important. It is. Like, I'm not bringing it up to be a scumbag guy, like, oh, typical male talk. No, I mean that from a real professional point of view.
Yeah, you need it, don't you? I mean, like, the females especially, because they're trying to, and like, you look at it, Rose doesn't need it. Rose is like, people think Rose is beautiful anyway, but it's not in that like Paige Van Zandt type way where it's like she's portraying that. Rose is just, look at me, I'm the way I am. I think that's why people sort of take to that as well, because she's natural.
Yeah. There's a Ginger and Marianne. There's Gingers and then there's Marianne. And I think that's the best way of putting it, because you got somebody who might put that on Front Street or lead with that. And there's others that don't lead with it. But
the problem is that we are talking about straight away with Mackenzie. It's like going straight away to the appearance. And although that can be sometimes looked at badly, it's already a positive because we're adding things outside of her actual fighting ability, which is very high. She's great. Obviously, world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner.
It's the same with Conor McGregor. We don't talk about his striking first. We really don't.
Talk about everything else.
Yep. We talk about, he's wearing a suit. We talk about how good he is on the mic. That's what we do, because that's his crossover appeal. So anybody who wants to go, of course they talked about, man, fuck you. Yeah, I said it. I know you got to edit that out. Fuck you. Sorry again. Like, that's because they'll do that. They'll say, these guys are being pigs. Nah. We're talking about crossover appeal. Is this a star you can put in front of somebody? Yeah. You can ask my wife whether or not Becky Lynch is ugly. And she'll say, I don't like the way she actually sounds, but she's not ugly. Like, she thinks she's an attractive lady, and she understands her crossover appeal. There's something, like, she understands that she's really good on the mic. She doesn't like the way her actual voice sounds. Like, she can't stand it. But she listens to every word Becky Lynch says when Becky Lynch is on the TV. She listens to that because Becky Lynch says it. She put women's wrestling on the map that it is now, main event in WrestleMania and stuff like that. And my wife has seen the career of Becky Lynch and understood that is the case. She understands why Becky Lynch is better in every way than Charlotte Flair. Argue with that all you want, but ask my wife who's a better wrestler. Ask her whose match she'll watch. Sorry.
Well, it's good because you brought up wrestling. Let's quickly segue. We've talked about the UFC. We recapped it. It was a really good event, actually. I thought the UFC 273, good fights on it from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
We didn't even talk about Ian Gary, who big fan favorite over here.
Oh yeah.
Although he's from Ireland, it still feels like we sort of have that connection even here in the UK with those type of fighters. But Ian Gary, rising star, sort of following in the footsteps of Conor, but giving his own style to it, I think, in a way. Yeah. But we'll talk about that in future. But I want to
definitely a big moment.
Definitely, and he brought Becky Lynch in that. It's a good segue of the WWE announcing that will be. I believe you can confirm this for me, Sean. A pay-per-view event.
A stadium event. 73,000 seats, bro.
In Wales, Principality Stadium. First event, I think, in 30 years WWE's put on as a pay-per-view in the UK. Yep. Huge news because, I just seen a stat today and it was a viewership comparison and engagement of social media and statistics of WrestleMania 38 versus the Super Bowl. Yeah. And
they kicked their ass. They made them.
They did alarming.
To them. Dude, they did to them what they do to AEW all the time. And in terms of just viewership numbers, if anybody's an AEW guy, relax. I'm just talking about just the straight up numbers. Like, yeah, but they, they quadruple, like they double and triple them in viewership all the time, and nobody talks about it. But, I'm sorry, nobody of any relevance talks about it or brings it up. But yeah, they destroyed, they decimated the Super Bowl on social media. Like nobody talked about the Super Bowl the way they talk about WrestleMania. And I tell my wife, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling. She's like, which one do you like more? I'm like, WrestleMania. Give a shit about a football game? Like, I do, but like, come on, man, get out of here. No. Is it Walter Payton? Is it the Bears? No, I don't care, man. Is Michael Jordan playing on the Bears somehow? No. But he could be at WrestleMania. He won't be. I'm just saying, my point is like, crossover appeal, man. It is. They had Logan Paul wearing a damn Pokemon card that is worth $5 million around his neck.
I was surprised that we're going to talk about what it means for the UK and in WWE and that, but I was surprised that like the difference. I mean, I suppose with the WWE, it's because of the variety of content that they can produce for Instagram, Twitter, all social media channels, and then YouTube, which are huge on.
And 2 nights. Don't forget the
Well,
second night.
just maybe the juggernaut that it produces because of the difference in content. Whereas the Super Bowl, you can only do so many highlights of one game, whereas the WrestleMania has so many matches, so many. So I could understand it, but I was a little bit shocked, to be honest, because I'm always under the delusion, I'm not from America, but I spend a lot of time looking at the sports, looking at social media and whatnot, and I thought that the Super Bowl was, it was it. It was the number one, and although it may be in terms of like television ratings and whatnot, but those statistics was crazy
Yeah.
to me. I didn't expect that, but I mean, you probably are very familiar with that and think that that's nothing new, really.
Yeah, no, all they need to do is put it on the same channel. Here's the thing. The Super Bowl was on Fox. Why in the hell is WrestleMania not on Fox? Just put WrestleMania on Fox. 2 nights. There's nothing on television except the Super Bowl that's close to WrestleMania. Not the NBA. And I mean, it's not close. They're two in the history of the world. There's in terms of the biggest event in the world, 4 years is the Super Bowl, and then it is WrestleMania. There is no that's 1 and 2. Nothing comes close to those 2 things. It's not. You can't name anything else. You can say, oh well, what about this? College basketball. No, not the college basketball game. Maybe the college basketball tournament as a whole, NCAA tournament, and the college football championship game. Maybe they come close. But those are the only other 2 things that we're talking about. College. You see the level I had to drop. The NBA isn't as important as those things. It just isn't, because it's way too much. It's more invested in that, way more invested in that, and it makes sense. You got an entire fan base that goes back with a lot of history, and with the Super Bowl and with the Super Bowl, you just got 2 teams, that and it's. They don't go every year, so it's kind of like recent. But in college, you could. It's more history in college than it is in the NFL, and it's easy. They have a richer, deeper tradition. I don't want to get all off into that, but
No, but
are you going to the show in September 3rd in Cardiff?
Well,
where are you going?
I mean, I'll have to work it out first, but it would be pretty cool to go to, I think.
Yes or no? Feet to the fire. Yes or no? You know if you're going or not. Don't bullshit.
It's not exactly close, I would say. Wales isn't as close as you think, but I would probably lean more to yes than no.
Okay.
I'll talk to you about it off camera.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to WrestleMania because if I don't say I'm going, I'm definitely not.
So when's the last time you went to an event?
I went to one in Sacramento late last year, early this year. I think it was earlier this year. Right. But the thing is, that was late last year. The thing is, it's in LA, and I'm 9 hours. I'm a 9-hour drive away from LA. I'm still in California, but like, ew. 9, yeah. So when you say Wales isn't exactly close, well, I hear you because I'm gonna be taking a 9-hour road trip. But I gotta go to WrestleMania, man. I gotta go.
You forget how I forget, not you. I forget how California is massive, but 9 hours is ridiculous. That's like me going to a different country.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are just your country's just different.
I could. It takes 3.5 hours to fly to Chicago from here. So I could fly to Chicago like damn near 3 times.
Wait, so how long would a flight take?
To LA? Way quicker. It's 2 hours.
Yeah, it'd be like what, an hour? Less?
No, it's like 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah, probably less. Let's just go with 2 hours.
Hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah.
because you still got to go to the airport. Like, unless you go from, there's an airport here where I am, but it's not an international one or anything.
Right.
It's not a big one. But yeah, you know what? That just opened up some more options. I'm like, hey, maybe we should fly out of here. Maybe we'll die in a plane crash. I don't know.
Well, listen, I think obviously, for me anyway, and for everyone in the UK, but George, obviously to go, I think people won't really need that motivation because it's been the first one in so long.
This is WrestleMania.
I mean, what pay-per-view will it be?
I don't know.
Because they're always in order, so you could work out, no?
September 30th. No, it doesn't have to be a pay-per-view. It could just be
it better be.
Well, I guess it'll be like, it'll be like
it's crazy.
It'll come out. Go ahead.
No, but like, you do 73,000 at a stadium in the first show in 30 years, and you tell me it's not going to be a pay-per-view. That's
I'm tripping. I'm sorry. It's going to be on at a weird ass time too. What is Saturday? It's going to be on at fucking sorry. It's going to be on at damn, it's going to be on at like 11 o'clock maybe? 11 a.m. here, I think. No, yeah. Earlier. It's going to be on at like 9.
Yeah, it'd be earlier because it would be at like 5-6 o'clock start time this year.
It's like 9 a.m. here, bro. I'm ready. Hey, this is what I do. I'm ready. I'm gonna watch it. People are like, I can't get off work. Get a better job, dummy.
Well, that's September, Sean. So we will preview that in weeks to come, months to come. More details will come out about it, but we do have to talk about this weekend's combat sports action before we wrap up on today's episode.
Yes, sir.
Because not only is there UFC, but I think this is another week in a small batch of weekends where Bellator trumps UFC. So we're going to go right to Bellator because these fights are pretty incredible, at least from my perspective. Let's start. Tim Johnson, Linton Vassell, interesting. But we're going to start with Aaron Pico returning.
Bellator 277?
Yeah, Bellator 277.
How the hell did they catch up with UFC?
Well, that's interesting because they don't do traditionally every month. And the account fight, it's different. So that's probably how. But Aaron Pico, huge prospect for Bellator, big name, big talent, and winner of his last 5. He had a 2-fight stint where, back-to-back losses by stoppage. And I mean, it's good in a way, Sean, where you have, these prospects, these young guys, especially for Bellator, they need them because traditionally an older company of fighters where rip-offs from other promotions, hanging on to the latter years of their careers, and they're champions in these divisions, and it makes it feel not special, not high quality for Bellator. But when you've got guys like Aaron Pico, it speaks to the development of Bellator as a promotion. And I think Aaron Pico for them is sort of like a Sean O'Malley for the UFC. It's like a build them slowly, keep them winning, keep them happy, and then once they're finally around, let's get them in for the big fights, where I think they're doing that here with Aaron Pico. He's fighting, a guy that's 9-1, but he should probably win. And what's your thoughts on that? Because I know you're not massive on Sean O'Malley, but you understand the idea.
No, I like Pico a lot more. Like, I like Pico. I don't like O'Malley. But no, I know what you mean, and that's why he's not the single reason why this card trumps UFC's card. But
2 great title fights coming up.
Yeah, he's the reason why, not the single reason, but he's one of the big reasons why, because you have something to look forward to. I don't even know who the next UFC star is. if like it's crazy because the reason I wanted to bring up the Mackenzie Dern fight is because she was the only person on that card I saw as the next star because he had crossover appeal. You could just kind of throw her in something and get people talking. And people will just say, oh, who's Volk? If you throw Volk in there, people will still have, like, who's that? Like, why is he on my screen? When Aaron Pico, he's the Dern of this card. Like, oh, Aaron Pico, okay. Like you see this guy, and you get interested. You hear the name, and you go, oh yeah, I heard of him. So, it's more he's important for all of MMA, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like I said, that you don't know who the hell. There's no UFC star. There's no star. Like, there are people who are cool, but I wouldn't say there's a star. But Aaron Peak, you trying to get Sean O'Malley's and stuff, but hell, Cejudo is probably the biggest star they got right now. I'm serious. Henry Cejudo is probably the biggest star they have right now, and he has to come back because they weren't paying. Pico has to win this fight though. He can't have any setbacks because he's not looked at in terms of Bellator history. He's looked at in terms of all of MMA, and when guys jump over, it happens. You look at Chandler, right? So when Chandler jumped over, we were thinking in terms of not just Bellator being like a weaker league, but all of MMA. He jumped. This is what's going on in MMA, the whole picture. So in terms of he can't have any setbacks because Michael Chandler paved the way for him. Not just Michael Chandler, but like he's the latest to do it.
He can't have another setback like you just said. I mean, two losses in a row, and it was looking very like, what's happening?
Yeah.
This is because there was such a build up for him. It's like if Sean O'Malley was then to go and lose 2 fights now, and you'd be like, all the guys that love him and the UFC who want to promote him and stuff, that promotion stops for the UFC. It just goes,
exactly.
Oh, let's hold back. So it's like, it's very important, and that's where the matchmaking comes in and stuff.
Yeah, and exactly. It's weird to liken him to a Mackenzie Dern, but that's kind of exactly where they both are. Like, a loss for her, and it would have been like, yeah, you're done. Like, not that like you'll never make it back, but like,
sure,
she's already got a lot of work to do. Like she's got a lot of work to do, but you don't want her to grab onto you. She needs to work a lot harder. I think she could have finished that fight, but that's where they in terms of MMA, that's where you are. That's a good thing for Bellator, but it's a better thing for MMA. It's a good thing that we're starting to realize, well, everyone else is starting to realize that there's considerable talent over in Bellator.
So we've got Aaron Pico, and we also have Vadim Nemkov defending his
knocking out Corey Anderson. That's what's happening.
Light heavyweight title. What a fight this is.
I don't like Corey Anderson. He's just, I could say some really racist stuff.
I think well, let's stop here before.
I'm black. It was gonna be racist, but like it was gonna be. It was still gonna be racist.
But say what you want about Corey and what sort of like, because obviously the relationship didn't end well between the UFC and him, and he's had a lot to say and things, but he has moved on. He's done well since coming to Bellator. This was the fight to make. But sometimes we like to make the comparisons of champions in each division. A Vadim Nemkov in the UFC has a good chance of being a UFC light heavyweight champion.
He's got some holes. Nemkov, he's got some. You can beat him. He's beatable. I've seen it.
He's been beat twice, so there is.
Yeah, no, but like recently he's looked vulnerable. So I get what you're saying, but like he's looked vulnerable recently, and it's weird when you brought up Aaron Pico. I was like, man, Vadim Nemkov is the guy we should actually be taught. Like, we should actually be talking about him, but we're not because he's looked weaker. You know what I mean? Like he's looked weak. Rhys. Corey Anderson gets smashed and goes back to obscurity. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'll say this: you ever see the movie Django?
Oh, Django Unchained, yeah. Oh God, where are you going with this?
Yeah, he looks like he should be Mandingo fighting, and he looks like he's owned by Calvin Candy. He needs to prove that listen, there's a certain way you look. It's super unfortunate. He needs to prove he's not that type of person. Because if I'm thinking it, I know damn well somebody who actually is racist is thinking it. It's crazy.
These podcasts are going to come back to haunt us like Joe Rogan's did a couple months ago.
If he strikes me in the streets, he will go to jail. Okay? He ain't going to... Hey, Volk, come fight me in the streets. I'm just going to send you to jail, bro. And everybody say, oh, man, you're a pussy, blah, blah. No, you can't just fight people on the streets. You want me, you pay for my camp, and then I'll fight you in the octagon. Pay for the camp.
How much you need to fight Vadim Nemkov in an octagon? How much? How much is your pay?
I know how to beat him. I had a buddy. That doesn't mean I'd win, but I know what to do. Hey, it is what it is. I had a buddy of mine go. We talking about somebody I interviewed years ago.
Right.
Damn, it might be 10 years ago. Who knows? But he said, man, I think I'd have trouble fighting him. I said, oh, him, I'll whoop his ass. And he was like, what? He said, I think I'd have trouble with him. I was like, and I'm telling you, I'd kick his ass. He was like, oh, so that means you can beat me. I was like, sure, I'll kick your ass too. And he took it personally. I was like, bro, why are you doing the MMA math? Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm just saying I know how to beat one guy and that I would beat that guy because of that. Now, I'm not saying I'd beat up Nemkov. I'm saying I could win against him had I had equal preparation time. But that actually means like a decade of fighting, right? So we're not going to fight. He's just going to have to take these words. I don't even have beef with him. He's vulnerable. He's beatable, very beatable. Corey Anderson, work on your look. Wear some suits. I can't say you look like a slave if you wear a damn suit, not a dirty one or something. Wear a suit. Can you do that? Here's the thing. If I pull the same shit in pro wrestling and you wearing a suit, I can't talk crap about you in a suit, right? So Corey Anderson, put on some suits or something, man. Because you're misrepresenting yourself. Okay? I know it's weird. It's probably like people to say, well, Sean, what if they said cut your hair or something like that? That isn't one of those sort of things. For one, my hair is beautiful. Okay? So cut the bullshit. Two, there's something to be said about appearance. We talked about crossover appeal. He has none. He has the crossover appeal of someone who was doing Mandingo fighting in Django Unchained. Okay? Now, if people hate that, guess what? Stop me from thinking it. Because like I said, somebody else is thinking that. If people are thinking Aljamain Sterling was getting racist chants in Florida because he's black and the other guy's Russian, then you for damn sure better think that people are thinking some horrible things about the way Corey Anderson looks. Sorry. I'm sorry about that, Corey Anderson. Go put on a damn 3-piece suit like Conor McGregor and sell some fights.
Well, whatever you feel about either, it is a good fight.
Put you in a bad situation.
No, yeah, it's a good fight. We'll see who comes out on top. You got
the knockout power.
You got a prediction for who wins? I mean, I know you don't want Corey to win, but who do you actually see take out personal, just skill level?
I see it. I see Corey Anderson winning. Actually, I see him winning. Knockout.
I see it being close.
I see him scoring that lucky punch. Not lucky, but like that.
Yeah.
I see him getting that punch. Not that Nemkov can't, but Corey Anderson isn't Bader, you know. And I think that's the issue. Yeah, I think that's the issue that Nemkov's gonna come. He's gonna come across. He's not Bader, and he's gonna throw a different punch at a different time at a different angle, and it's gonna rock his world. And that's gonna be the end of him being champion. So That's how I see it.
The interesting thing about this fight is that you most likely would predict it to not be done inside the to finish inside the distance. I got a feeling that this might go 5 rounds, and
it might.
It's interesting because they've just put in the 5-round rule, haven't they, Bellator? So it's like, I mean, Corey's got the experience of 5 rounds in past fights and whatnot, but it's like maybe that plays a factor. I don't know.
I don't know if it's experience on his end. He's been in 5-round fights, but I don't know if he's experienced in them. Like, not the way you would say like Sterling or Jan is now. You know what I mean? Like,
he's been in like the UFC, so it's like he's aware of those high profile fights. Maybe Vadim's sort of been around it in the last couple of years, the opponents he's faced, but perhaps not any one of the so I would say, I mean, obviously Bader, notable win, but I think Corey would be his most difficult, because Corey's probably actually is in his prime. Where
he's Diet Chet Congo. Corey Anderson can get the fuck up out of here. Let's stop talking about that, nigga. I'm done.
Anyway, the real main event.
Diet Chet Congo. Get out of here. Bye, Corey Anderson. Even if you win, I don't care. Put on a 3-piece suit and make me give a shit.
The real main event is a incredible one. This featherweight, we started with the conversation with featherweights. We're going to end it with featherweights. AJ McKee, Patricio Pitbull, the rematch.
I love Pitbull, man. I don't. Who do you got? You got to tell me who you got first. You got to sway me. You got to tell me.
The problem is the first fight was, it was one-sided. It was quite surprising, actually, I thought. But
I don't. You know who that first fight was? It was that was Woodley versus you know what I'm talking about. He took the belt off of him. Lawler, Woodley versus Lawler. Same feel to that. Same vibe. That's what it was to me.
A newcomer on the time, the older veteran.
It was storm him. We never got that rematch.
I mean, I've got.
Did we never got that rematch, right?
No, Lawler Woodley. Right. No, I mean that was right at the end. But I think for me, I'm leaning towards more AJ. I feel like both have a case of being, whether whoever wins this fight, obviously Patricio before this fight was the champion, AJ is now, both have a credible sort of pedigree of perhaps being the best featherweight in the world. Yes. You look at Volkanovski, you look at Max, these guys, the problem is that they're not getting the same level of attention. This fight won't get as much attention as the Volkanovski Korean Zombie fight will.
They're not getting the same outlets. I would say they're getting the same level of attention, not the same outlets though. Because because Pitbull gets a lot of attention, and like he does. It's just that
it's not the same eyeballs on it though.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah.
But this fight's far, far better than what we've seen this past weekend. AJ McKee's a superstar in the making. Patricio Pitbull is already there. I mean, yes, he's not perhaps a full superstar in the sense, but what he's done in the sport, who he's fought, the ability that he has.
And the way he wins, he reminds me of Michael Chandler, shorter, smaller.
Oh my god!
If you can do that, he's like mini Michael Chandler.
It's just murder's row of fights and style. You're right. It's just crazy, and I don't know. It's one of those fights where I'm hoping for just a really good fight. I mean, we got a shortcoming of the fight last time. It was exciting. It was sort of, and Patricio sort of argued as well. And you just want a good fight this time around. I'm sort of swaying more to AJ, but that's just really off of what we've seen so far. And
sure, me too. It's hard to say that the person who that Pitbull can overcome that. It's hard to say that once you've seen it. And because you're not going off anything, they only had that one fight, so you can't say, yeah, he's going to overcome that. It's like, nah, like there was nothing wrong. It wasn't like Pena versus Nunez. It was like, that was legit. This one was legit. Like, it was like, oh, nah, he lost. Like, that's a real loss, not some BS fluke loss that they're going to run back.
Sure.
I got McKee winning too. Crazy, right? I got McKee winning too. Because like I said, you can't overcome. I don't see Pitbull overcoming that based off what we've seen and what we know about him.
Well, also,
I want him to lose and go to UFC.
Well,
I know it doesn't look like that, but it could.
Yeah.
In the perfect world.
This fight round obviously is in LA. I want to. Where was the first one again? I want to say it was.
I got a question for you. If somehow Pitbull ends up in UFC before Volkanovski goes to lightweight, does he have to stay and fight him?
What, Pitbull or McKee?
No. If Pitbull jumps to UFC, does Volkanovski? Yeah, no. Without it,
right?
Does Volkanovski have to fight him? I say yes.
For me, yes, but it'll never happen. The problem I have with Sean is, at least with boxing, we talk about the fact that there's multiple promotions, multiple deals that have to go on. And there's a lot of trouble that comes with that because you never get two promoters on the same page for big fights, and we've lost out on those big fights over the years. But at least there is room to negotiate fights, whereas the UFC, Bellator, I don't think there'll ever be a point in the next 5 to 10 years where they want to cross over. And it's just a shame because what it would mean for the fans, it would make the sport so much bigger, but they're just so focused on making as much profit in their own business and keeping everyone at arm's reach. It just ruins it in a way. And I would love to see more crossover, but I just don't think we're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, I brought it up because if Pitbull jumped over, the way Chandler did, made a big splash, I think it'd be pretty great. But, people don't always quite clean out the divisions the way they say they will. John Jones had a couple guys, he needed to fight again. Like, he needed to fight Reyes again or Blachowicz, one or the other. I say both, to be honest. Because if you're going to say I'm the best ever, you need to beat the young lions, too, and say, hey, look, I beat those young guys, too.
Sure.
And they were on the rise, too. And the problem was they were knockout guys that he didn't want to face. And one of them he didn't want to face again. There was who moved out of a division and didn't. Khabib Nurmagomedov, as great as he is, why didn't he stay and fight Michael Chandler? He said, I'm done. I beat everybody. Not Michael Chandler. Black stain on his career for me. Big one. And people always like to let him slide and he can do no wrong. Nope. You didn't fight a guy that just came over. You said you beat everybody. You're done. You're retiring. Fight Michael Chandler then. Do I think he would have beat Michael Chandler? Sure. Sure I do. But I think there's a good chance he could have lost too. And I think he was like, no, I'm not gonna take that chance. Fight Michael Chandler, then leave, right? Fight him. In fact, I'm gonna be real with you. He should have fought Chandler and then he should have fought Oliveira. And that should have been the end of his career. He should have retired after those two if he had beat him. Win or loss, he should have fought those two guys and then retired. But to say I've beaten everybody when in fact there's a dude coming over, you ducked him in my eyes. You knew he was coming over. You got scared, you bitched up, and you ducked him. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what he say. Sorry again.
No, it's actually quite a good point about Chandler and whatnot. I think there is a lot of that, but this weekend Bellator, I think it's this Friday, and it's again in California. It's San Jose this time. The first one was in Inglewood. Just thinking for the sort of hometown advantage of McKee again, that's going to play into his benefit. But also on Saturday, I think the Bellator's Friday. Saturday is Luque versus Bilal Muhammad 2. Luque on a great run. Bilal sort of wanting to come back after that unfortunate incident with, like we talked about earlier, Leon Edwards. I mean, Luque is making some real noise.
It's all fun and games, this is all pure entertainment. We want these, if they don't get the best thing for them, we don't get entertained. So as much as I joke about it and we go back and forth and it's all fun and games, I'm cursing, blah, blah, blah. We need these guys to put out the best product. They put out the best product when they're at their best. I don't like Aljamain Sterling. Can't stand him. But he needs to be at his best. And he was. He put out a great product. It doesn't. So it's crazy that I hate that you talked about it. You brought it up. That crowd was undeserving of what they got, because those were great fights. And they just kind of, you know what, let's quiet down after the big fight. And Sterling and Jan didn't deserve that. Those are guys who worked really hard, especially Aljamain Sterling. If we talk about the gap he closed, like he did a tremendous job of closing that gap and coming off of surgery. Like I could joke all I want, I could hate him, who cares? That guy has proven himself, and he deserves all the respect in the world that he gets. I don't have to give him any more than he deserves, so everybody shut the fuck up about that, because I won't. Okay, but I'm giving him all the respect he deserves. Not an ounce more though. But yeah, I was just saying that to kind of clear things up with Edwards and him being injured all the time and stuff.
Yeah,
I had harsh words, but like the fact of the matter is, I really do want Steph Curry is a guy that used to get injured all the time, and you don't want injuries in MMA. Because they literally just stop all progress. It's not a team sport like the NBA, like Steph Curry and the Warriors. They can keep going and make the playoffs. They can keep, like Klay Thompson. He got hurt. They can keep going and make the playoffs. They can play without him. But, once you're injured in MMA, your career stops, So, yeah, that's what I had to say about that. But I got Luque coming out of that one pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, Luque, winner of his last 4. Bilal, really? Coming off that no contest, but
I mean, he's no slouch. Don't get me wrong. It's just
but obviously he's and it was sort of like a loss, but it was ruled as a no contest. So he actually, in a sense, has won. Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row for Bilal as well. So 2 winners going into this fight, and it could really be a number 1 contenders matchup. Obviously, you've got Usman, Leon. They're going to fight for the title, I think, in the summer. Most likely, Hamzat Kobe, the winner of that, will then fight the title, and then I think Bilal and Luque will fight. The winner will fight one of those maybe losers, and hopefully for the belt soon. The rest of the card, Sean, isn't great. I just like to point out one thing, if you want to look at it as well, you'll see what you think about it, but we're going to wrap up here. But just one thing, William Knight, who is built like a truck, light heavyweight, God knows how he makes that. I think it was one of his last fights, he was like, if I believe correctly, far well overweight. But William Knight,
I'm not seeing him on the card.
He's on the prelims under Tapology.
Oh, okay.
But just wanted to bring that up for everyone, because William Knight has fought January, February, and is now fighting in April. So this man doesn't seem to stop fighting, but he's very exciting when he connects, because he is built. And Anthony Joshua meets Dillian White in boxing, who will fight Tyson Fury very soon. Just a huge specimen of a man, but sometimes when you look at him and you think, oh, how does this other guy even survive? But then there is the gas tank element, there is other elements to martial arts, but he is one to watch. Also, Drakkar Klose making his return. Chris Barnett is on this card, which is brilliant. Everyone loves Chris Barnett. Expect some dancing from him. So just a few sneaky names on this card. Sort of a sleeper card, actually, really.
Yeah. It's something to keep in the background. And that main event.
Good main event. Good main event.
Now it's a type of card you don't notice really.
Sure.
You just have it on in the background, but like that main event will catch your eye, and that'll move.
Sure.
That'll be something to look forward to. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, But like that prelims is, if you don't turn it on when it first comes on, you might miss everything. That's happened to me before, unfortunately. It's a couple people with some crossover appeal on there, if you will. Panini, or what, I don't know what her name is. I'm trying to look more at some of these fighters that we don't talk about much, but
I mean, sure, you'll have some of the Dana White Contender Series guys. You'll have some of the sort of regional guys that have come on in the scene. I think
Ricard close.
Yeah, so I think, Sean, before we wrap up here, I think, like we're saying about things that are going under the radar, you forget that the UFC do actually continue to look for growth in certain areas. I think when they go to Singapore in June, they're going to be hosting a tournament of fights to sign a few fighters from the Asian region, which is cool. So, like we said, for all that there is a lot underneath, perhaps what people don't see, I think this card is what you'll see as well, where you'll see some top level martial artists, but names that we don't recognize yet. But I'm sure in a couple of years we might. So,
yeah.
Anything you want to add before we wrap up, real quick?
No. I think that's it. That's why we watch the cards. That's why we stay tuned to the sport.
Well, from me and Sean, that's been another episode of the Weekend Warrior Show, packed with a lot of passion, I think, from Sean and myself. Really fun, though, as always. Insightful. Hope you guys thought it was. I will see you next week on the Weekend Warrior. Take care, guys.